Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome to Russ Can Fly. Booyah! Okay, so getting ready to go over to the airport, handle my business. Man, I'm excited because it's getting close. The weather's been iffy on me back and forth, really windy, crazy. But at any rate, I want to give a shout out to all of the student pilots out there like myself who are on this journey and trying to get their private pilot licenses. If you're a student pilot and you are currently in training to get your private pilot license, send a little shout out down in the comments so people can see, and show you some love. I understand, that this journey is just so crazy, so many twists and turns, and I've really been dealing with some weather stuff, especially winds. And one of the things I realize is that I'm not going to mess around with gusts of like 25 and 30. That's a no-go. But at any rate, things are moving along. I have to practice my maneuvering skills. Still a little iffy on my power on stall, and I definitely want to get these steep bank turns squared away. So let's get over here. Let's work on some maneuvering skills. Let's get it. Master on. Auxiliary fuel pump on. Mixture full rich. Bring it out. Off. And I'm looking to get this in. Clear prop! Alright.
Loud and clear.
Thank you, sir. Wings field, Cessna 53340, taxiing from the upper ramp for runway 6, wings. So as I get closer to my check ride, I'm really focusing on my maneuvering skills. Really trying to dial myself in. So rather than just doing a steep bank turn, or getting into one, or just lucking my way into one, I'm really trying to get to a point where I can do them consistently, and I understand all of the components, whether or not it makes sense for me to do anything with trim, whether I should add power and when I should do back pressure, all of those types of things. Steep bank turns, especially the one to the right, that's going to be the thing that is going to be make or break. Now I know people will probably say, don't focus on one thing, because you focus on that one thing, and you might let something else go. But the bottom line is, you should know what your weaknesses are. I know what my weaknesses are in terms of the oral portion, so I got to dig into that. But definitely the flight portion, it's all about steep bank turns, especially to the right. So let's get after it. Alright, so let me get myself situated. Alright, so flaps are up. Fuel tanks on both. Trim tip for takeoff. Mixture is full rich. I got my beacon. My landing light, my lav light, and strobes are on, and I'm going to take runway 6, make my call. I don't hear or see anybody on final, no one on the field. Wings traffic, Cessna 53340, departing runway 6, turning out to the north, wings. Okay, so line it up here. Alright, heels to the floor, full power. Alright, engine instruments in the green, oil temp, oil pressure all look good. Airspeed is alive, 40, and rotate. So as I make my way out to the practice area, I have to admit I've been watching some other videos where people have been talking about check rides, and there's been a couple people that have talked about failing. And one of the things that's kind of scary about this is, the DPEs are really specific about making sure you meet the Airman Certification Standards, or the ACS standards, for these maneuvers. And so I definitely want to make sure I get this right. I think the scariest thing that I heard is God got through his oral portion. It was 3.5, almost 4 hours long. He gets through like 95% of his flying portion, and he goes to do a soft field takeoff. He fails to put in 10 degrees of flaps, and he takes off, and in that last 10 minutes he fails. And so, you know, it's a scary thing. I mean, like, it's probably about a good month away, and as I sit here and talk to you, my heart is beating fast already. So that's why, you know, you're probably going to see a lot of practice, because I want to get this right, and I really want to pass my check ride the first time.
Wings traffic, Cessna 53340, left turn out to the north, last call, wings.
On up to 3,000 feet.
3,000, yep, roger that. Alright, take off, climb, airspeed 70 to 85. Full pressure looks good in the green.
Master park to the southeast, get out.
Sunset traffic, Skyhawk 2 Mike Delta, downwind for 30, Somerset.
And we can turn our landing light off.
Midfield crosswind, 24 wings.
Alright, so we're settled here. Let's start with steep turns. Alright?
Okay.
Skyhawk, short final, 9 for close traffic, Robbinsville.
Alright, let me see where I am. So, I'll be at 3. Pick a point. Looking for this water right here. And, gonna go to the right. Okay. Oh, clearing turns.
Okay, so let me be crystal clear on something. If I had started my steep bank turn maneuver prior to doing clearing turns like I'm doing now, failure. You must do clearing turns before you do any maneuver. Now, the deal is with clearing turns is you're turning to clear the area to make sure there's no other aircraft in the area, so that as you do these maneuvers, you don't have a air-to-air incursion, which would not be good. As one learned scholarly brother told me, flying is about trying to not hit anything hard. And so clearing turns hopefully clears the area for that. I absolutely must remember to do clearing turns before I do any maneuver, or else game over.
Alright, I think the area is clear.
Traffic, Skyhawk, crosswind 29.
Alright, at 3, to the right. And here we go.
So it's always the steep bank turns to the right where I find myself having the most difficulty. Now, as you watch me do this steep bank turn to the right, you'll notice that the plane seems like it starts to slow down, and then the turn stops, and then it speeds up real quick. That's not the camera. That's actually me in the turn, and that's the problem. A lot of my inputs are too inconsistent. Either my bank is not enough, or I don't have enough power, and it's always just to the right.
And to the right.
Now this one wasn't that bad, but it's just always to the right. I gotta get that one tighter. To the left, not as much of a problem, as you can see here. Now in this turn, the bank is a little more consistent. I seem to keep the nose a little bit better on the horizon, but here I got a little slow too. It's just something I gotta get tighter.
Got a little slow.
Right?
Yeah.
Good thing you noticed it.
Yeah.
Turn back to that lake.
Yeah.
Right? What happens when you increase loads? The load factor increases, what happens to the stall speed?
It increases.
Right? So we got to get close. I mean, we weren't close to stalling, but
Right.
you know,
Linden traffic, Cherokee
Oh,
you have to add some power when you're into that turn.
Okay.
7.
Alright, so get back onto this, onto your altitude and everything like that. Area is still clear.
Okay.
So settled again.
Okay.
Try it again. The
Alright.
turns were good. I just you didn't have the power.
Yeah. Alright.
And again, it's about making sure I add the right amount of power at the right time. you know, intellectually, I know all of these different pieces. I know that a different, you know, additional load factor, you know, means that there's, you know, additional drag, which means the plane will slow up. I mean, I understand all of that, but just trying to do it and put it all together, I mean, it just seems to be so difficult. So, and the thing is, when I do add power, I'm too timid with it. So, I don't know, but I'm just gonna keep working hard to try to get this and stay within 100. I am going to get these if it's the last thing I do, because I have to. Gotta pass the daggone test.
I'm in traffic 152, waiting for 36.
11 is traffic, call check 4350 Golf. Right now I'm in the 429 Robinson.
So what airspeed did you start this at?
I was at 90.
What airspeed do you want to be at?
90.
90 to 100. I say 95.
95? Okay.
Maneuvering speed is probably the best. I say 95 is better.
95, okay.
And do you know how much airspeed you have between? Like if you go, what's the range you have to stay with it?
It's like within 50.
Plus or minus 10 knots.
Oh, plus or minus 10.
So if you have 95, you have between 5 and 105, right?
Right.
So you get into 80. I mean, if you're at 90, that's okay, but you got to add a little bit more power.
Okay.
Okay? Try
Okay.
one more set.
All right, one more set. Here we go.
So I'm not going to show the whole set here, but one of the things that I definitely know that I got to be mindful of is that the plane is going to give me other clues about what's going on with the airspeed. One, I'm going to hear the engine. And I actually did kind of hear the engine slow down, but I just didn't trust my ears. But also just in my seat, I can feel that load factor increasing. And so that's why I like, you know, making these videos and going back over them, because it really does teach me what happened in that lesson and what lessons I could learn from some of the other clues that, you know, the instruments, in addition to the instruments, some of the other clues that could help me, you know, perfect this maneuver. All right, so let's move on to the next maneuver and go ahead and end this lesson.
50 Golf on the short final 429 Robbinsville. The minimum stop.
Let's hit it. You're golden.
Yeah.
You just pull up too
I just
early.
have that habit of pulling up too early.
Okay, let's get into slow play.
Okay.
Always first thing before you do that, right? Configuration first.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, so mixture full ridge. Got my trim.
Traffic, Cherokee 31 Foxtrot, turning
And then-
runway 30.
Your altitude don't fly.
Okay.
I say this is a little tight, I think.
Okay. And looking for the white arc, although I can do the first notch in this one.
So I really don't have any issues with slow flight. I mean, in this lesson, one of the things I had to be cognizant of is making sure that I got in proper configurations before each maneuvering. And so, each maneuver. And so that's what maneuvering skills are also about. It's not just about doing the skill, it's about making sure that you're in the right configuration to do the skill. Whether or not you need flaps or not, what your airspeed should be, all of those types of things. So, but like I said, slow flight is not an issue. I usually can get into it. I can usually stay pretty consistent. The couple times during this lesson, I'm not gonna like make it go too much longer, but I did hear the stall horn a couple times. That's not something I want to do during a check ride. I mean, because it's just, you know, you hear the stall horn, a stall's imminent. Well, you don't want to do that in slow flight. You want to be controlled and not be in a position where you can stall the airplane. So that's one of the maneuvering skills that I do pretty well. I just have to remember that before I do any of the maneuvers, have the plane configured correctly.
Let's do a power on stall.
Alright, power
Okay,
on.
let's clear the area again. Let's do a clearing turn to the right here.
Okay.
This stupid power on stall. I tell you, out of all the maneuvers, I tell you, I'd rather have my eyebrows plucked out one at a time with tweezers over multiple days rather than do these stupid power on stalls. I don't know what it is about these things. I hate power on stalls. But I better get my act together and get my mind right because it's definitely going to be a maneuver, one of the maneuvering skills I'm going to have to show in the check ride, I'm sure. So, well, here we go.
330 heading.
330. Alright, 330. Alright, slowing down the rotation speed.
Final, runway 30, Somerset.
Alright, full power.
Traffic, Skyhawk, final 29, Robbinsville.
Hazelton traffic, helicopter medevac 4 mile final, 28, Hazelton.
Too much.
Somerset traffic, Turkey 809, turning left crosswind, runway 30, Somerset.
Too much water.
Then traffic left
Too much water, right? Keep it on that ball, right?
Yeah, because I was looking at it.
It doesn't take much on this one.
Okay.
Try again.
Okay. I don't know why this has become a problem for me. I used to do these
It
better.
might be just the plane. It was a little weird to me. Like, I'm so used to putting clutch in, and then it was barely anything in there, really.
Yeah.
So remember some months ago when I was stuck in this whole round out and flare do loop? I'll actually put the video up there so you can go back if you haven't seen that video where I was struggling to do my round out and flare when I was trying to learn how to land. But you know, I finally broke through that after, you know, being stuck. Well, the power on stall, for whatever reason, I seem to be stuck, and so, you know, it's just something that I gotta get more comfortable with, and just get better at the instruments and not freak out, because I was forgetting a very fundamental thing in terms of making sure my flight stayed coordinated and making sure I kept the ball centered. And I'll talk more about some of that in, like, you know, when I talk about flight instruments or something like that. But suffice it to say, you know, I'm a little stuck on power on stalls, but don't worry, I'll get it right. All right, so let's get back to the airport, get this baby on the ground, and consider it another impactful lesson.
Power idle.
High. And you just need a little bit more right rudder there.
Okay.
It would have been perfect if you had just a little kick of right rudder in there, maybe a little bit more aileron as well, because we did get blown a little bit. Nothing crazy though.
Yeah.
But you were doing it nicely, right?
Yeah.
Just right at the end, a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that left crosswind caught me off guard and kind of pushed me out to the right. So, but you know, I'm keep learning. All right, so it's starting to come together. I mean, I have to. So with my steep bank turns, one of the things that's happening is when I go to the right, for whatever reason, because I have to look across the airplane and my sight picture, I gotta make sure I'm listening to all my senses. I gotta feel it in the seat of my pants. I gotta look out and see the horizon picture. I gotta listen to the engine and hear what it's doing, because every now and then I have this habit of pulling back, getting the nose up, gaining some altitude, then correcting or overcorrecting, then the nose drops, and I'm well beyond 100 feet of altitude loss. Then the plane gets slow, and then the steep bank turn is all jacked up. So I just got to get that together, but I'm working on it, and I'm really praying that by the time I get to the check ride that I've got that squared away. Stalls, good. Slow flight, not a problem. S-turns, I'm good. It's just that steep bank turn, and specifically to the right. So pray for your brother that I get these maneuvering skills under my belt. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. And I really appreciate all the support thus far. All right, Russ Kid, Russ Can Fly. I'm out. See ya.